Thank you for being here and watching this video. If you enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I want this channel to be more than just a collection of videos. I want it to be a community where we explore fascinating ideas, discuss them openly, learn from one another, and grow together. So don't stay silent, join the conversation. Consciousness, cognitive science, and the hidden machinery of the human mind. Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize-winning psychologist and economist, whose work transformed how we understand human judgment and decision-making, spent decades mapping the terrain between how we think and how we actually think. The gap between those two things is where almost every important error in human judgment lives, and understanding it is one of the most practically valuable things a person can do for the quality of their thinking, their decisions, and their resistance to manipulation. Kahneman's central framework, developed across decades of research conducted with his longtime collaborator, Amos Tversky, and synthesized in Thinking, Fast and Slow, divides the human mind into two systems, not as a literal neurological description, but as a conceptual map of two fundamentally different modes of processing. System 1 is fast, automatic, emotional, and largely unconscious. It operates continuously beneath awareness, pattern matching incoming experience against stored templates, and generating instant responses, assessments, feelings, intuitions, impulses that arrive in consciousness already formed, as though they were simply the obvious and natural response to whatever just happened. System 2 is slow, deliberate, effortful, and conscious. It is the mode of careful analysis, of step-by-step reasoning, of checking assumptions and considering alternatives. It is also critically lazy. It prefers to endorse what System 1 has already produced, rather than doing the work of independent evaluation, and it is easily depleted by demands on its limited attentional resources. The relationship between these two systems is not adversarial, and Kahneman is careful to resist any reading of his work that treats System 1 as the problem and System 2 as the solution. Both systems are useful, just in different situations. System 1 is not a malfunction. It is the product of evolutionary pressures, operating over millions of years to produce a mechanism capable of rapid, adequate responses to a wide range of survival-relevant situations. When your car begins to skid on ice, you do not have time for deliberative analysis. The correct response needs to be executed before conscious reasoning could even begin. System 1 handles this. When a social situation suddenly turns threatening, when a sound in the dark activates an alarm, when a face shows an expression that requires immediate interpretation. System 1 is handling all of it, continuously, with a speed and a comprehensiveness that System 2 could never match in real time. The problem is not System 1 itself. The problem is the situations in which System 1's fast, pattern-based processing generates responses that feel equally certain and equally automatic, but are wrong. Not randomly wrong, but systematically wrong, in predictable directions, because the mental shortcuts System 1 relies on are efficient enough for most purposes, but fail in specific, identifiable ways, under specific, identifiable conditions. Kahneman and Tversky called these failures cognitive biases, and the catalog of them they developed over decades is one of the most illuminating and most unsettling bodies of research in the history of psychology. The availability heuristic, the tendency to judge the probability of something by how easily examples of it come to mind, produces systematic overestimation of vivid, memorable risks and underestimation of mundane, but statistically more significant ones. The anchoring effect, the tendency for any number we encounter to influence our subsequent estimates, even when the number is arbitrary, operates even when people are explicitly told the anchor is meaningless. The halo effect, the tendency to generalize from one positive impression to an overall positive evaluation, shapes hiring decisions, academic grading, legal judgments, and relationship assessments in ways that have nothing to do with the evidence available. These are not rare or exotic failures. They are the default operations of a mind that is, in most contexts, doing exactly what it was designed to do. And in specific modern contexts, doing it badly. What is rarely discussed, despite the enormous popular success of Kahneman's work, is the practical question of what to actually do about this. Knowing that cognitive biases exist does not automatically protect you from them. The research on debiasing is sobering on this point. Simply learning about a bias does not reliably reduce its influence on subsequent judgments. People who have studied the anchoring effect for years still show anchoring in their decisions.